What do you do when you have a problem that needs to be solved off the record, perhaps even through illegal means? Well, you have two options. Option one, you attempt to take care of it yourself. It's the messier option. And if you don't know what you're doing, well, it's even messier. Or option two, you call the fixer. He's not like any other fixer you may have heard about. He's a star, and dealing with stars, they tend to get a bit particular. Let me explain. This one job, I'll set the scene for you. High-end condo, downtown. Looks like a Russian high roller from the 70s lives here. I mean leopard print and neon all over, reflecting in the glass and chrome features of the place. But at the center, the main attraction was Bruno, a portly fellow with Russian features, sat zip-tied to a fuzzy chair, right in the middle of the room. A leather-gloved hand tapped Bruno's face. Waking him, he looked up and saw the fixer. He was early 40s at the time, wearing a slick all-black suit, no tie, hair pulled back like a washed-up classic rocker. He was flanked by two bruisers, the kind of guys you don't want to mess with.
Hello?
The fixer said. Bruno's eyes darted between the three men.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
Bruno exclaimed. He's not a man with an extensive vocabulary.
Thank you for setting everything up for us. I'll take it from here.
The bruisers took their leave as they exited the condo. Bruno struggled, making quite the ruckus to no avail.
What do you want?
The fixer shook his head. Surveying the room, he smiled. A bizarre dick-shaped statue rested on the coffee table. He grabbed the strange phallic statue and observed.
Tell me, Bruno, do you consider yourself an art lover?
The fixer stared at it, silently critiquing it in his head. Bruno eyed him, then the statue, and knew he was fucked.
What?
It's a simple question.
Yay. I like art.
The fixer put the statue back in its place. He proceeded to grab a chair nearby and slowly slide it towards Bruno, scraping along the floor for a little dramatic flair.
Look, man, you've got the wrong guy.
Do you take me for a neophyte?
A what? No,
I'm a professional. You should know that before we begin.
Oh, Jesus.
Have you ever pondered The Last Supper? It's a very famous painting, but allow me to describe the scene.
The fixer opened his briefcase, and Bruno nervously looked inside. An accoutrement of different torture tools laid out inside, each with a velvet cutout for its place. Meticulous and clean, as one might expect for a fixer of this caliber.
Jesus, the man whose name you just took in vain, sits with his closest disciples the day before his execution. You know what's always fascinated me by this scenario? Not only did his inner circle betray him, but he knew about it the whole time. Can you imagine being in his shoes? But at least none of them were picking his pocket when he wasn't looking.
Oh, God. Mr. Lito knew?
He did, and he's not as forgiving as Jesus. Now you'll also have 3 days to get Mr. Lito his 30 pieces of silver, plus interest, of course.
Please, I'll do anything.
Exactly. Hold that thought.
He placed the knuckle remover on the top of the briefcase and stood up as Bruno started to sob. The fixer walked to the kitchen. He looked around. He checked his watch again. Something was indeed off.
Don't you have enough sharp things?
Those motherfuckers. This is all very, very wrong.
The fixer was losing his cool. He looked at Bruno and rushed over, crouching down to Bruno's level, grabbing him by the shoulders.
You. Where is it?
Where's what?
Where is my charcuterie board? Your boss? Those fucking goons were supposed... He was...
I don't...
I swear to Christ, if you say you don't know, I'll stab you in your dumb, artless throat.
Bruno shut the fuck up. The fixer looked into Bruno's dumb eyes, then tapped his Bluetooth earpiece.
Call Mr. Lito.
Hi, you've reached Mr. Lito, the mob boss. Please leave your name and
He slammed his fist on the counter, making Bruno flinch.
You know what? Today's your lucky day, fuckstick. Because it looks to me like your mindless dipshit boss doesn't read his goddamn contracts.
The fixer opened the briefcase and placed the knuckle remover back inside.
One simple charcuterie board. No black olives. Is it that difficult to show me just an ounce of respect?
You should get back at him.
Shut it, shitwad. How?
Think about it. I know his operation. I can give you names, places, associates. You just take your pick. I mean, you're a great hitman.
Fixer.
A great fixer. Sorry, I'm sure you could make him pay in other ways. You did a lot today.
I did. I broke in. I was menacing.
Oh, the most menacing. It was Mr. Leto who broke the contract anyway. You don't owe him anything.
That's right. If anything, that shitbird owes me.
I say you take what you're owed.
The fixer liked the sound of that. He tapped his Bluetooth earpiece.
Call Hugo. I don't ask for a lot here. I mean, come on. Not even a jar of fucking pickles.
It's disrespectful.
The fixer pointed at him and nodded emphatically, eating up every compliment. But Bruno quietly managed to grab the dick statue with his tied hands, placing the sharp tip against one of his restraints, attempting to free himself before the fixer could sort out the mess.
Hugo, job's a bust.
What do you mean?
There's no charcuterie board.
But it's in your contract.
I'm keeping the deposit.
Yeah, that goes without saying.
The fixer walked into the kitchen and grabbed a knife. Bruno tried harder and faster to cut the restraint, but he slipped, either from the sweat of his hands or the fact that they were tied together, and dropped the statue.
What? He thinks it's easy getting down here on a weekend at this hour? I have a fucking life, Hugo.
Bruno strained, reaching for the statue. Just as he landed a finger on the potential weapon, the fixer walked over to Bruno, both hands still tied to the chair. He slid him back to the original position with one hand and stared at him while holding the knife.
Listen, if you're up for it, I've got another job. Adrian was supposed to take it, but he's down with the flu.
Sure. This guy wasn't going to be any fun anyway. Gave up as soon as I walked in.
Bruno gave him a look. Then, snap, the fixer cut one of the restraints, freeing one of Bruno's hands. He flexed it in glory.
Where's the gig?
It's 535 River Avenue. I'll send the details to your driver.
The other side of town?
Come on, buddy. I'll personally drive the charcuterie there myself.
Throw in a bottle of Beaujolais and you've got a deal.
There's my superstar.
Bruno eyed the knife as it inched closer to his final restraint. The sweet taste of freedom almost in his grasp. The fixer put a hand on Bruno's shoulder.
Look, Bruno, I'm sorry about all this. I'll take care of Mr. Leto. Just give me the names and I'll do the rest.
The fixer went back to snip the last restraint when a knock at the door. The fixer and Bruno stared at it. Another knock. The fixer cautiously rises and walks towards the door, leaving Bruno stuck to the chair in the final zip tie. He looked through the peephole, then opened the door. A caterer stood there with a small cart.
I've got a charcuterie board for Mr. Leto. Sorry we're late.
Hugo, I'm going to have to call you back.
Why? What's going...
He tapped the earpiece, cutting Hugo off. He grabbed the charcuterie board and brought it inside, shutting the door in the caterer's face. He placed it on the counter and rubbed his hands together excitedly before snatching a cornichon. He chewed, basking in its succulence, the sweet symbol of respect, despite arriving late. He swallowed, and it seemed to calm him down. Bruno stared in disbelief as the fixer's head snapped up, all smiles.
So, where were we?
He walked over to him. All Bruno could do is shake his head slowly as the fixer popped the tabs on the briefcase. He pulled out the knuckle remover and grabbed Bruno's free hand.
No,
Shh.
As he got to work, reducing one of Bruno's digits, he savored the moment. He reveled in the fact that he almost botched the job, which brought a quick smile to his face. He'll have Hugo add a premium to the fee, of course, to account for the lateness. That sort of insolence won't ever go unnoticed. You see, the fixer, while a professional, can be a bit of a diva, especially without a few cornichons.